Imagine two massive cities filled with wealth, power, and pride, completely reduced to ash in just a few hours. No armies marched in, no earthquakes tore the land. It wasn't a natural disaster. It was judgment from heaven. Fire fell like rain, and within moments, everything was gone. What kind of angels move with that kind of speed? Who could carry out such a terrifying order without hesitation? This isn't just about sin. It's about a divine force so powerful, even Abraham's prayers couldn't stop it. In this video, we reveal how the angel erased Sodom and why God didn't wait another day. What if the most dangerous cities in history weren't filled with poverty, but with wealth? That's exactly what Sodom and Gomorrah were like. These twin cities sat by the Dead Sea, shining with gold and overflowing with food. From far away, they looked like paradise. But inside these wealthy cities, something terrible was happening. The people there had forgotten how to be kind. They had so much, but instead of sharing, they used their riches to be cruel. They made games out of hurting the poor. They set traps for strangers who came to visit. They twisted the rules of welcoming guests into ways to harm them instead. In Sodom, if you gave food to a hungry person, you could be punished. One story tells of a young woman named Paltith who secretly gave food to a poor family. When the leaders found out, they covered her with honey and put her on a wall where bees stung her to death. This is how far they had fallen. The Bible tells us in Ezekiel 16:49,
"Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were proud, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy."
Their problem wasn't just that they did bad things in private. They had broken the basic rules of treating others with respect. These weren't quiet sins done in secret. The cries of the people they hurt grew louder each day. Imagine thousands of voices, the poor, the hungry, the strangers, all crying out at once because of how badly they were treated. These weren't just whispers. They were screams that reached all the way to heaven. God hears when people cry out. He heard the Israelites when they were slaves in Egypt. He heard Abel's blood crying from the ground. And now, he heard the cries coming from Sodom and Gomorrah.
The outcry against Sodom and Gomorrah is so great.
God said,
Their sin is so serious that I will go down and see for myself.
Think about that for a moment. The creator of everything decided this was so important that he wouldn't just send a message. He wouldn't just send angels. He would come himself to see what was happening. It was like a cosmic alarm bell ringing. The sound of so much injustice and cruelty had reached God's throne, and he couldn't ignore it anymore. When the cries of the hurt reach heaven, God always responds. The people of Sodom kept living their wealthy, wicked lives, not knowing that divine visitors were already on their way. They thought their high walls would protect them. They believed their riches made them untouchable. They were wrong. While Sodom continued its cruel games, elsewhere a very different scene was unfolding. Under the shade of great oak trees at a place called Mamre, an old man named Abraham was about to have the most important conversation of his life, one that would decide the fate of entire cities. But before we see what happened next, we want you to think about something important. These stories aren't just old tales. They show us how God responds when people use their power to hurt others.